Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're diving into something that is absolutely critical for any business, but so often gets pushed to the back burner. We're talking about building a culture that doesn't just survive, but truly lasts. So let me ask you something. Does this sound familiar? You're the leader, right? And it feels like you can't get 5 minutes of peace because there's a never-ending line of people at your door, each one needing an answer. You feel like you need more hours in the day just to get the actual work done. Well, what if the problem isn't your schedule? What if it's something much, much bigger? And there it is. This one sentence can be a total game changer. It takes that feeling of being completely swamped and reframes it. It's not about your personal time management. It's a symptom of a problem buried deep inside your organization. So, okay, how in the world do you fix a culture problem? Well, it all starts right here with your values. You see, the foundation of any great culture is a super clear, intentionally designed set of core values. And no, this isn't just fluffy corporate speak. This is the literal bedrock of your entire company. The best way to think about your core values is like they're your company's DNA. They are the non-negotiables that guide every single decision, every conversation, and every action your team takes, especially when nobody's looking over their shoulder. So why even bother with this? Because your values, when you get them right, act like a powerful magnet and a filter, all at the same time. They pull the right people towards you, and just as important, they help you see who really doesn't belong. They become your North Star for making decisions, in good times and, especially in tough ones. Okay, theory is one thing, but let's talk about how this actually works in the real world. I want to tell you a story about a leader who was probably right where you are today, and how one piece of advice just changed everything for him. So picture this. A business owner is sitting with his mentor, and he is just at his wit's end, totally frustrated. His mentor tells him he needs more thinking time, and the owner pretty much just loses it. He feels like he is drowning in tasks, and the absolute last thing he needs is more time to think. He needs more time to do. And there it is again. The mentor saw right through all the surface-level chaos and pointed to the real root of the problem. But you know what? The advice just didn't land. The business owner heard it, but he didn't get it. In fact, he pretty much dismissed it out of hand. He just couldn't see it yet. So he moved on, and for 6 long months, absolutely nothing changed. He was still just as overwhelmed, still running around putting out fires. Then, one day, he's reading a business book, and a single sentence basically leaps off the page at him. And that was the aha moment. It was like a lightning bolt. A sudden, totally undeniable realization. The advice he had blown off 6 months ago suddenly made perfect, crystal clear sense. He didn't just understand it, he felt it. And that feeling, it kickstarted him into immediate action. And I mean immediate. He didn't schedule a meeting for next Tuesday. Nope. He called his general manager into the conference room right then and there. They were going to put their culture under a microscope. Here's exactly how they did it. The first thing they did was grab a marker and write the name of every single one of their 35-plus employees on a giant whiteboard, top to bottom. And this wasn't about performance reviews or sales numbers. It was about something way more fundamental. Then, across the top of that board, they wrote out their 5 core values. Things like keep it real and do what you say you will do. See, these weren't just nice-sounding words on a poster. They were the actual behaviors they expected from everybody. Now, finally, they had their yardstick. Next, they came up with a simple but brutally honest scoring system. For every employee, next to every value, they put a mark. A plus if the person lived that value all the time. A plus/minus if they were kind of hit or miss. And a minus, but only if they could think of at least 3 specific times that person actively went against that value. This wasn't about gut feelings. It was about facts. And then they drew a line in the sand. This was the minimum standard. To be a fit for their culture, you needed at least 3 pluses, and you could have 2 plus/minuses. But here was the kicker. A single minus was an automatic disqualifier. No exceptions. So after going through this whole exercise, what did they actually find? Well, the results of this little test were honestly both shocking and incredibly clarifying. This was the real start of a true intentional transformation of their entire company. When all was said and done, the number was 7. 7 employees fell below that minimum standard they had just set. Now think about that. That was about 20% of their whole team. It was a clear, data-driven sign that, yeah, their culture problem was very, very real. And they didn't waste any time. The leader looked at his general manager and said, the next time any of these 7 so much as sneezes wrong, they're gone. And get this, within just 2 days, 3 of those 7 people were let go. That sent a message loud and clear. The values on the wall were now the rules we live by. Period. Now, this wasn't some quick fix. It was the beginning of a 5-year journey. They started hiring people based on these values and firing people based on them. After a few years, they noticed something incredible. Their best people, they weren't leaving anymore. And by year 5, the whole situation had flipped. They became known as a destination workplace, with the best talent actively trying to get in. So what's the big lesson here? First, that feeling that you have no time, it's often just a symptom of a weak culture. Second, you have to define your non-negotiable values, the actual behaviors you expect. And third, and this is the hard part, you have to have the guts to measure your team against those values and make the tough calls. A great culture doesn't just happen by accident. You have to design it, you have to build it, and you have to defend it. If this story hit home for you, and you're ready to stop managing your time and start really leading your culture, here's your first step. Go to www.archonusa.com and request a free culture brief for yourself to start your own journey. Thanks so much for joining us.